Hey guys, Bob Iger thinks Marvel's fine, just fine. Everything's fine. Nah, it's just because there was streaming and too many sequels. That's why Marvel's down the pan. Everything's fine. This is just fine. It's just too many sequels and streaming. That's why Ant-Man barely crossed $500 million. The kickstart to your brand new phase. This is fine. It's not. No, don't you worry about it. Shareholders, don't you worry about it. Bob Iger's got this. Fucking ridiculous. Anyway, Bob Iger's back. Not the be-all and end-all. Not the saviour of Disney. Certainly not the saviour of Marvel. Just in one fell swoop in this CNBC interview, he reveals that he's absolutely unequivocally not the right man for the job, just with these simple statements. Now, I know that there's a certain amount of this where he has to say this stuff. I get it. I honestly get it. But Jesus Christ, this is just terrible. You couldn't make this stuff up. The comments are utterly nonsensical. So Disney CEO Bob Iger said Marvel Entertainment, whose acquisition in 2009 was a signature deal of Iger's first stint at Disney, was unfairly taxed during the company's frenzy to supply Disney Plus with fresh content, which, FYI, was his choice. Disney Plus was his baby. In a lengthy sit-down interview with CNBC's David Faber, Iger addressed Marvel, as well as topics like the SAG-AFTRA and WGA strike, which is SAG-AFTRA strikes happen now, a looming revamp of the company's linear TV assets, and of course the Ron DeSantis situation, along with Pixar and Lucasfilm. So bearing in mind, he thinks this is the same with Pixar and Lucasfilm as well. The CEO said Marvel had been asked to do too much by former CEO Bob Chapek. Right, stop throwing him under the bus. Alright, he's gone. You chose him, and all he's doing was presiding over the shit kingdom you gave him, and you're blaming him. You created Disney Plus, Bob Iger. You created Disney Plus. You gave it to him. A lot of this stuff would have already been in the pipeline, and now you're blaming him. But apparently Marvel, Pixar, and Lucasfilm was asked to do too much by Bob Chapek. Which, bearing in mind, if that is the case, is still your fault, Bob. Because, as this article notes, Bob Chapek was Iger's hand-picked successor, who was ousted last fall. Mate, it's been a year. Get over it. Get over it. It's been a year. You can't keep blaming him. And you can't keep blaming him anyway, because the buck stops with you. You're the one that picked him. But, oh wait, you can't blame him anyway, because he was presiding over the stuff you established. What utter... God. You just think... This guy thinks we're all idiots. But remember... This is fine. This is all fine. This is just fine. Anyway, here we have it. In our zeal to basically grow our content significantly and serve our streaming offerings, we ended up taxing our people in terms of their time and their focus, way beyond where they had been. So you asked businesses... What? You asked studios to do too much. That's still your fault. Marvel is a great example of that. They had not been in the TV business at any significant level. Not only did they increase their movie output, but they ended up making a number of television series. Now apparently, that surge diluted focus and attention, both internally and for audiences. He thinks the reason Marvel is a bomb is that they just put out too much. Now, is that part of it? Yeah, absolutely. But still no, because I remember a time when a Marvel film was the talk of the town. You would absolutely want to stay for the post-credit scene. It was, God, what's going to happen? What are they going to do next? When was announced? The buzz online was crazy. Yeah, it couldn't possibly be all the identity politics that you've thrown in there, current world events, and, you know, just absolute left-wing nonsense that you've thrown in to most of these films now. It couldn't possibly be that. Couldn't possibly be the fact that you keep swapping out characters for women as well. You know, comic books are predominantly watched by men. Comic book movies are predominantly watched by men. So belittling men and, you know, allowing female characters to stand on the shoulders of these chaps' favourite male characters, probably not going to be a great win for you, to be fair. But apparently, no, guys, it's just too much. It diluted focus and attention. This is fine. It's all fine. It's just fine. Don't you worry about it. It's just fine. Don't you worry about it, mate. Shareholders, don't you worry. We just diluted focus. Don't you worry about it, mate. Ridiculous. So Iger said, that is more the cause than anything else. Yeah, sure. The executive took pains to note that it's not a problem from a personnel perspective. This doesn't even make any sense. You asked them to do too much, but it's not a problem from a personnel perspective. What? Are you high? You're contradicting yourself. What are you doing? You smoking crack or something? What's going on? The comments built on those delivered by the Disney chief at a Wall Street conference keynote last March. And he said then that Marvel brand is not inherently off. but he mused about whether you need a third or fourth sequel built around characters with resonance mainly among hardcore fans. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The third installment in that franchise suffered Marvel's steepest ever second-week drop at the domestic box office earlier this year. And overall, Disney is mired in a theatrical slump. They've lost over $1 billion this year alone. Lost over $1 billion this year alone. And they're trying to save 5.5 billion. So, not looking good, mate. But then he tries to sound great about Disney Plus, even though he lambasted himself, basically. So David Faber asked Iger if he regretted foregoing the long-time revenue source in order to prop up Disney Plus. This is direct-to-consumer, basically. And he said, if we hadn't done it, everybody would be saying, why isn't Disney going into the streaming business? As it turns out, I think we made the right decision there to go into that business. Mate, it's 14 billion in debt. How is it the right business? It'll be a great growth business for us. When? We will turn it around. We will turn it around, he says. I'm confident of that. It will be of value to us long term. Yeah, right now all the shareholders are pretty pissed. So good luck with that call.